Hi everyone, just a quick announcement before we get started. This video was originally over an hour and I split it into 4 parts. This is part 1. Greetings, this is Amy Wentley and this is video 2024-4 and it's for dropping stitches on purpose. So in this video we're going to explore a number of different knit stitch patterns that involve adding extra yarn while you're knitting and then dropping stitches off to get kind of a lacy effect. So we're going to be looking at a number of different patterns in this video. They will be time stamped so you can fast forward to them if you would like. These all came out of Stitch dictionaries that are knitting books that include just lots of different knit stitch patterns in it. And so the ones we will be exploring are the vertical drop stitch. There you go. The alternating vertical drop stitch. The anemone. It's one of those stitch. And the Indian cross, which is here. See how pretty that is. And then this is the seafoam pattern. This is the one we'll start with. Okay, and this has alternating lozenges of longer stitches. It's loads of fun to do. So we're going to start with this seafoam pattern. And for the seafoam pattern, if you want to work along, you will need to get some yarn, whatever kind of yarn you have laying around. For this pattern, a variegated yarn or a color changing yarn is kind of fun. It's a nice effect with the drop stitches. So I picked this. You'll start out by casting on 26 stitches and working 4 rows of garter stitch. So knit 4 rows, knit every row, okay? First thing we're going to do though is we're going to put a lifeline in here, and a lifeline we put it in our work and it's there, so if we go further on our work and we make a mistake, we can pull back and come and get these same stitches again. So we're doing this at the beginning, and in the seafoam pattern you'll be doing it after row 4 or after row 8, wherever you want to add a lifeline. And what you do is you take your stitches down to the middle of the cord, or if you'll just have this on a knitting needle, you'll have to work with a knitting needle back here, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to thread a piece of contrasting color yarn through the stitches to hold them if we were to take them off the needle. So we're going to put our contrasting color yarn, lighter weight is probably a good idea. So this is a darker fingering weight yarn, and we're going to thread it through the stitches on the cord. If you happen to have a marker in your work, you will want to not go through the marker with your needle. You'll go around the stitch. Pretend this is a marker. Okay, you would go around it like that so as not to catch it. Okay, but now we're just going to go through all these stitches on the cord. Try to use a blunt needle when you do this. Try not to split the stitches. Then you'll spread your stitches out. You'll have 2 tails. You can just let them hang there. If you feel like you would like to tie a bow in either end, go ahead and do that too. That's fine. It probably will not fall out. Okay, so the seafoam pattern. In the first set of rows that we repeat, that'd be the first 4 rows, we're going to work a row with extra loops. We're going to then drop those loops, and then we are going to work 2 rows of garter stitch. So let me show you how we do that. We're going to start with 6 stitches on the end, and we're going to end with 6 stitches on the end. I'm going to show you how to do this first with continental knitting, and then I will show you how to do it with English knitting or throwing. Okay, so this is continental knitting or picking, and so we're going to knit 6 stitches at the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So those are our 6 edge stitches. Now this is where we're going to start doing some yarn overs. So we're going to start out our repeat, okay, with 1 yarn over, and so we yarn over onto the right needle, and then we're going to knit 1. And on the second one we're going to yarn over twice. So we're going to bring our needle around once, that's 1 yarn over, and twice for a second yarn over. And then we're going to knit the next stitch. The next combination is a yarn over of 3. Okay, 3 yarn over 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, and you knit the next stitch. The next one's going to be yarn over 2, 1, 2, and knit the next stitch. And now the last one is a little tricky. Pay attention, okay? Because it's yarn over 1, and you've been used to, after you do these yarn overs, to knit 1. Well, you're not. You're going to knit 6. So don't make the mistake of saying yarn over, knit 1, and then knit 6, because that's going to be too many. So the last one is a yarn over, knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. Now we're ready to start that again, and I will show you how to do that with English knitting with throwing. So your yarn's in your right hand now. To do a yarn over, you come forward, and then you get ready to take it over the right needle to knit the next stitch. So this yarn forward is my first yarn over. Okay. Then I knit the next stitch, take the yarn over the needle and pull it through. Okay. Now for the second yarn over, or the yarn over 2, I bring my yarn to the front, that's the first yarn over, and then I have to take it all the way over and bring it to the front again, that's the second yarn over. So it looks like there's 1 yarn over on your needle, but this yarn is going to come around and knit the next stitch, and that's going to give you 2 yarn overs right there. 1, 2. Okay. Let's try it with 3. You bring it to the front, that's 1. Take it over, that's 2. Take it over once more, that's 3. It looks like you've got 2 loops on your right needle, but this one here out front, 1, 2. This one here out front is going to go over the needle when you knit the next stitch. Okay, and that leaves me with 3 yarn overs and a knit stitch. So the next one is 2 yarn overs and a knit stitch. And the last one is a yarn over and knit 6. Not knit 1, it's knit 6. So good job. So that's our first row. So you've got a lot of stitches on there, and you'll see where they're kind of bunched up with extra yarn here. Okay. So second row, we turn and we drop those loops. Okay. So we're turning. It says knit across, dropping the yarn overs as you go. Okay. Just to give you a little bit of perspective too, you had started out with 26 stitches. If you call each of those yarn overs a new stitch, you now have 44. But now we're going to go back down to 26. So we're going to start out by knitting 6. That was our border, remember? And then here's our first yarn over. So we're going to just drop that off. And then we're going to knit the next stitch. And then just watch how I drop these loops off. Just drop them off. This is the 2 yarn over. Okay. And then this is the 3rd knit. And this is the yarn over 3. So I'm going to drop that 1, 2, 3. Drop it completely off. Do you see how the stitches are big over here? Okay, so we're going to knit the next one. Sometimes it gets a little hard to knit because the loops get really big. So that's your 3 yarn over loop. And you're going to drop this 2 yarn over loop off the needle. The yarn overs just come right off the needle, and knit the next stitch, and then drop that last yarn over off the needle. And now we're going to knit 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes the yarn gets tight back here because the yarn overs take up the yarn and make it snugger in one place and looser in the other place. So you just have to, you know, fight with it a little bit and you'll be good. So that's 1. We knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6. And we take this next yarn over and drop it off and knit the next stitch and drop the 2 yarn overs off and knit the next stitch and 3 yarn overs off and knit the next stitch, 2 yarn overs off and knit the next stitch, 1 yarn over off and knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's where we dropped the wraps. Now look at our work. I can pull this out a little bit and you can see it. Look at those big loops now in 2 places in that row. 2. There you go. Okay, now what happens next is I'm going to knit 2 rows. I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you row 5. Hi, I'm back. So I added my 2 rows of garter stitch. And at this point, once you do that, you can kind of pull your work a little bit to really be able to see those waves, okay? And we can also block this piece when we're done, and those will come out, you know, really, really well. This is a wool superwash yarn. It's bulky. It's variegated. It's nice. Other nice yarn to use for this pattern are really kind of the plant-based fibers. Fun ones are bamboo and the one I showed you here is actually, this is made out of sugarcane fibers. So it's shiny and slick and really shows off the different colors and the spreading of the stitches there. So the wool's going to be a little stickier and you'll need to block that for sure if you want those to show up. Okay? One other thing is we're going to get going now on the second 4 rows. So what we just did were these first 4 rows, so it made 2 lozenges. The second 4 rows are going to make 3. So let's do that. Okay. And I'll alternate between continental and English knitting for you. Okay. So this one we don't start out with knit 6. We're just going to come right out of the gate at the edge and we're just going to knit 1. Okay. Then we get into our yarn overs. So it's going to be a yarn over, knit 1, 2 yarn overs, knit 1, 3 yarn overs, knit 1, 2 yarn overs, and make sure when you do your yarn overs that you do them on the shaft of the needle here, not on your tip. Because if you do 2 yarn overs at your tip, see how small the stitch is? And it's going to make things really tight and, you know, not ideal at all. So when you do your yarn overs, size it back here on the fat part of your needle, 1, 2, and then knit. And then when you come to the last one, it's going to be knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to start again. And I'll switch hands. So we're going to yarn over once and knit 1. Yarn over twice and knit 1. One way of thinking with the English method too is just count how many times you bring the yarn to the front. So yarn over 1, 2, 3, and knit. That's how many times I brought it to the front. 1, 2, knit. 1 and knit 6. 1, 2, 3, come on, 4, 5, 6, and yarn over 1, knit 1, yarn over 2, knit 1, I want to say knit 2, okay, yarn over 3, forward, 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 yarn over 3, yarn over 2, 1, 2, or no, yarn, yeah, there we go, and yarn over 1, and then we knit the last stitch. The borders on this rows 5 through 8 is 1 on each end. Okay, got that. Now this, I'm going to go ahead and drop stitches from the back. This pattern, the seafoam pattern, is written in multiples of 10 plus 6. So what that means is, so we cast on 26. Okay, so that's 2 multiples of 10. That's 20 plus 6. You can cast on 36 or 46 or 56 or 66, 76, 86, 96, as much as you want to make this as wide as you'd like. Okay. Also, multiples of 10 plus 6. Oh, and that is if you're knitting this flat. If you were making a scarf, you would be knitting this flat. If you ever decided to do this pattern in the round, it would just be a multiple of 10 stitches. It won't have the borders on it. Okay? It's a little piece of info. So we are going to drop these stitches now. And so we're going to knit across, dropping the yarn overs as we go. So I'm going to knit this one. And this is a yarn over, so I'm going to drop it off. Okay, and I'm going to knit 2, and I'm going to drop off the 2 loops of the next yarn over, and 3. Now you see all these loops on the needle, they're not attached to anything, so they can just drop off. The next stitch you're going to work into is the one that's attached. That's the knit stitch. And you're going to drop off 2 and 1. And then 1, 2, 3, scooch up, 4, 5, 6, drop 1 yarn over, knit the next stitch. Sometimes they'll get crossed over each other, so you're going to have to kind of fiddle with the stitches every once in a while to get them in the right order, because those yarn overs like to get on top of other stitches. So I can tell that's a stitch because it's got a lump at the bottom. And I'm going to knit that, and I drop the next yarn overs. And I actually had to pull that one out because it's hiding under the next stitch from me squishing them up. So let me pull these apart. There you go. Big long loop. And I knit the next one. And then loops. We're dumping 3 now. So that was our yarn over 3, yarn over 2, yarn over 1, and then we knit 6. 1, 2, and push them up. 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Dropped it again. There we go. 6. Okay, and then this is going to be drop 1 yarn over and knit the next stitch, drop 2 yarn overs and knit the next stitch, 3 yarn overs, knit the next stitch, 2 yarn overs, knit the next stitch, and 1 yarn over and knit the next stitch. So let's see what this looks like. See how they came out? Very, very neat. You got 3 of them now. Okay? So, to finish this up, I would knit 2 more plain rows for 2 rows of garter stitch, and that's what you see here. And then I will start with row 1 again and have 2 lozenges. When I've done enough, and it's probably best to end on the 2 lozenges. When I've had enough, I'm going to knit 4 rows as another border, and then I'll have a scarf. So this was the seafoam pattern. Next up is the vertical drop stitch.